Hello, lovely people. I hope you are really well. I'm going live today to talk all about monetizing your art pieces. So essentially diversifying what you can offer to your customers to create a thriving business, a thriving art business. This is something I've done in my own business. Over the past few years, I've developed a variety of different things that I've offered for different purposes, different times of the year. And it's something that has worked really well for me. So I really wanted to cover this off today. And I'm going to show you how I've done it in my own business. And then I'm also going to leave you with a few resources for you to brainstorm with some key prompts around how you could potentially do the same for your own business. So yeah, we're going to cover some great stuff. I am streaming across YouTube and Facebook, so I will keep a tab of the comments, but feel free to say hi if you're around, if you're here. So I'm going to get right into it. So like I say, I have, artists have when you first start creating an art business, I think it can feel, if you look at the art world from the outside, it can feel quite daunting. It can feel quite limited so far as the opportunity and what you can do with your art, in the sense of, if I'm not in a gallery and I don't have all these wonderful original works that will be accepted there, then how could I possibly make money? And there's obviously a variety of factors around mindset and everything that comes with that. But what I have learned is that every artist has a very unique set of talents and a very unique way of creating art that is able to be made into different types of products, very, very unique to them. So everyone has the ability to create an art business authentic to their talent and their strengths. And one thing I have learned is that there are no limits and there are no rules. There's no rules around how we need to create a business and what we need to do and how we need to do it and what we need to price it at. It is completely up to you, and the opportunities are endless. So I thought what I'd do is talk a little bit about what I've done in my business over the last how many years? 6 years now, and what that's done to the opportunity that's come in, both with growing my customer, database, with selling over and over again to my customers, creating bigger opportunities that I've had come through this year that give me 5-figure projects to work on with corporates. And that's been a direct link from creating products over the last few years and trying it in a way that still stays true to me, my brand, and my work. But those things have set myself up to be able to create bigger opportunities for myself. And it's quite exciting looking back at this. So I'm going to take you through the journey of what I've done as a start. And then I'm going to just kind of talk through, I guess, some prompts to consider if you're kind of going, okay, some of this sounds very appealing. Maybe I could do this too. And I can promise you, all of you can absolutely do this type of thing. It's just about how willing you are to put yourself out there and give it a go. So I started my business, my art business, I guess officially in 2017. My website went live and I was still working in my full-time job. And I just started creating paintings, and like many of us. So whether you're a painter or you draw, or whether you create ceramics, I'm not sure exactly, all of you will do different things. But I started there because, that is in essence the foundation. You create this original thing and you work from there. So I started with that. And then I decided quite quickly that I'd like to offer a print collection. And that was to appeal to a different type of buyer who maybe liked my work, but couldn't afford an original painting, or liked my work, liked original paintings, but also liked the option of gifting prints, which over time has been a hugely popular thing for a lot of my buyers to do. I have repeat buyers come back buying prints for their friends and family. So this is what I mean about how diversifying what you offer can create repeat business. And actually, this is the core of any successful business. So if we're trying to find different buyers every single time we create something new, that's a lot harder than nurturing and I guess offering new things to existing buyers who already love us. Every business that does really well have core customers that continually come back. Whether it's your favorite shoe brand or your favorite place to go and eat sushi, or you might offer a service to somebody in a job that you have right now, and they keep coming back from, they do monthly work with you. The point being is that you have that repeat customer, and that is actually what every business should be focusing on, is how we can turn a customer who buys once into a customer who buys over and over and over again. And so over time, I now have customers who buy from me with pretty much everything I put out there. I've had customers buy from me 5 to 10 times, a number of them. So this is what I mean, the lifetime value of the person who buys from you once can really be maximized by considering, well, what kinds of things am I offering my customers that feel true to me? We can't do this all just for commercial gains. It's got to feel good. In order to just continually be able to have opportunities to make income from what we're doing. And I truly believe that none of us as artists should be ashamed of wanting to continually make income from what we do. We've got to get over that. Why should we worry about that? Like, you go off and do a completely different job for an income. Why should it be any different? So like I say, I started with prints. I'm going to show you, kind of take you through a bit of a tour of my website, and I guess take you through the progression of how these things kind of came to be and were added along the way. So I'm going to just share my website now to you. Okay, so you can see here we're on my website. This is my homepage. My website is very simple, needs a good update as a side note. But as you can see here now, I now have several categories. I have paintings, I have a few different types of prints, and I have gifts. Now, like I say, we all start with kind of the core thing that we create, which in my case is paintings. And so from there, what we're talking about today is, well, how could I create a different offer using the essence of what I've done in an original painting that feels good? You've got to feel excited by these kinds of projects. Creating anything new from an original, even though it might seem easy, there's still a process that happens, and you still have to market it. It doesn't mean we just create something that's a bit cheaper and everyone buys it. That is not the case. We'll get into pricing a bit later, but that is absolutely not the case. It's about how you put the energy into creating something new that is really appealing, and you understand why it's going to be appealing to other people. So like I say, one of the first things I did, and I've just been slowly building on this year after year, is my print collection. And this has just become something that is like, they're limited edition. So some of the sizes in each edition have sold out. But on the whole, I've done a relatively large edition there's about 90 to 100 at each type of print. And so, when you have a collection like this, you get a few years out of these, and there's something that can just continually be bought, either by existing customers who love what you do and have been watching it for a while, or like, oh, it's so-and-so's birthday, I've got it coming up. Or whether it's somebody brand new and they love something in particular that you do, and all of a sudden you've brought them in with that particular offer. And like I say, the price might be more appealing to those people. So prints for me, people talk about prints a lot. They have been a really good part of my business, and I do highly rate, if you are a painter or, you do create works on a it's very hard to create a print as a ceramic artist. I do understand that. But if you draw, if you sketch, if you create anything that can be on a flat surface, then you have the ability to create prints. The success, like I said before, I don't want to reiterate this, only comes from marketing these. If I'm marketing these well, they sell. People always need to know what you've got to offer. That's the key with anything you do. But these were a really good starting point to show me that not only could I sell my paintings for thousands of dollars, but I could have a limited edition run of prints that are very high quality. I really have a big thing around quality with everything I do. And this is what I mean around how creating products doesn't mean you just create, rubbish merchandise. You can create really beautiful things that stay true to you and what you want your work to be, received as, and no matter what format. So this is what I started with. And like I say, this just keeps growing. And I'm able just to keep marketing it no matter where I'm at. After that, I started to consider at Christmas, Mother's Day, Father's Day, well, are there actually some nice little ways that I can, create a slightly different product again, that again is very high quality, but appeals to a different type of buyer or a different purpose. So this is what we've got to be constantly thinking, like, who would buy this? Why would they be buying it? If I was getting this, who would I give it to? Would I give it to myself? Would I gift it? It's quite important to think through these things because this is really integral to how you market it. And so I started with these notebooks. They're very simple. I use them every day. I'm a huge note taker. I've got one here. So these are my little notebooks. They're very simple. A5 books. But like I say, the quality was important to me. I got them done locally. You can get them done, any kind of products like this you can get done through big companies like Vistaprint or others. Please, just no matter what you do, be really aware of the quality. You've got to know what's going to your customers and that you're happy with it. So make sure if you are going to do something like this, you order it, you get tests done. And this is what I do quite vigorously with anything I start with, is I look at the reviews, I test things, and I make sure I'm really happy to send them out. And they became really popular at Christmas. So there was a great little Secret Santa gifts. Great gifts for people who, again, had already bought from me and wanted a notebook. It was a different offer again, different price point, different purpose, and it allowed me to sell to the same buyers I'd had prior with something new. So that was the story of the notebooks, and that's how I started my gift range. And then most recently I did some puzzles, and again, these are all limited edition. I only do a limited run of any of these things. That's how I kind of make my gifts feel special, in the sense that once they are sold, these two are completely sold out. I've got 3 left of these Ruru, beautiful owl here in New Zealand. 3 of these left, and these were super popular. And again, it's a piece of art once finished. So you've got a marketing pitch of an awesome activity to do with your family and friends, but also a piece of art that you can frame afterwards. And so these also became really popular. And again, just a different purpose, different type of buyer came in. And that's what we're always trying to think about, is how can I bring different buyers in, but also sell to my existing buyers over and over again, because like I say, that really is key. So that gives you a little bit of a progression as to how that has evolved for me. I've done this just because it felt good. I was always fascinated in making my art into a puzzle, so I did it. There was no reason. And some people will be like, oh, that, why are you creating stuff like this? But I just want to talk about the benefits of doing something like this based on considering where are you in your life. So for me, these things were appealing because I'm in a place in my life, you can't see, but I'm pretty pregnant right now. I'm having my second baby in January. I have a 3.5-year-old. And so over the past few years, even with a 3.5-year-old and also building the side of my business being the coaching business, I haven't had all of the hours I need to create originals like this. I mean, there's 6 months and hundreds of hours of work that goes into something like this. So I had to be a little bit savvy and have fun with that and go, well, how could I still make some income in the little pockets here and there with some projects that I'll enjoy, appeal to my customers, stay true to the brand and the quality, but make me some money. As simple as those things. And so that was a really good time in my life. And you might not be growing a family, but you might be busy with a full-time job as well, and you're trying to build a business. So what I'm trying to show you is the power of having a variety of things. And like I say, this has all been built up over time. Don't think, just to have a business, you got to go out and have all these things. That's not true at all. But I want to show you the options of what you can create by having a bit of fun with these things and trying them. And like I say, appealing to those people who already love what you do, have already bought from you, and are like, oh yes, this is great. This is exactly what I want for Christmas. So I just wanted to give you a bit of a, I guess, synopsis or a snapshot of how I have built my business. But so far as how you can start to think about it for you and how this can be applied for you, because this is important, right? You can hear all these things all day long, but then it's like, oh, how do I go even about thinking about this? But I guess just to summarize, it's important to realize a few things around, why you're going out and doing something like this. If the thought is, I'm going to create something that's cheap because it will sell more and I'll make more money, that is the wrong intention. And let me put it this a few different ways. Let's take the $20 notebook that I had there. For me, that was a money maker, but it was also an amazing marketing tool, right? Because I had hundreds of those going out the door and it had my name on them. So I knew they were getting gifted. And for me, that was my brand getting further and further out, being in more and more people's hands alongside making a little bit of money. $20 a notebook, you have to sell a lot of notebooks compared to a $2,000 painting. I find one customer for a $2,000 painting. I have to find 100 people to buy a notebook to make the same revenue from those. That's harder. That is a lot harder, I promise you right now. And there's half of that is your cost. When you're making products, you got to consider that you'll have a specific fixed cost that you will have to pay out from every sale you make. So don't go into creating and diversifying what you're doing in the sense of going, oh, if I have cheaper stuff, people will want it. People don't buy because it's cheap. My notebooks at $20, you could go to Whitcoulls and get something like this probably for $12. Whitcoulls is a local stationery store here, for those of you not in New Zealand. They don't buy it for that reason, okay? They buy it because they like you, they like your art, and you will be telling the story around why these are really great in your marketing, and people are on board because they want to support you and your brand. This is what I really try and emphasize with everyone I work with. Price is somewhat irrelevant. People aren't going to buy because they're like, oh, that's $20. I'll buy that because you know what? Some people will buy for that reason. But I would question right now whether you want to attract that kind of buyer, because there are plenty of people, and I'm one of them, who will not buy because something's cheap. I will buy because I like it, because it's quality, because I'm supporting something I love or I'm all on board with. I buy for those reasons, and a lot of people buy for those reasons. And so I really want to emphasize that point, because I think a lot of people go, oh, actually calendars, and actually that's another thing I did last year. I did calendars and, sold 250 of those just before Christmas as a bit of a see how they go. And yes, they're popular, but I worked hard to sell them. A lot of people are like, oh, is it worth doing calendars? Is it worth doing notebooks? Nothing will sell unless you put a proper plan in place to intentionally sell and put time into it. Okay. These things, just because you have them on your website and they're there, they don't just automatically sell. Okay. So really big point there. I just wanted to get across because it's a big one. So And just on a final note, just to give you kind of an understanding of, I guess, where this kind of diversification can lead. I'll use an example of a New Zealand artist here who's done this on a huge scale, and her name is Flox, Flox. Those of you in New Zealand will know her. She is a very talented stencil artist. She does beautiful work. So she does originals, but she has merchandise and created products to a very large degree, and it's been very successful for her. And so she would have kind of started probably where I was, but she's got into all the retailers, airport shops and everything, and now you can buy from her everywhere. And so that's the kind of route you can go down. A lot of people are like, no, that's kind of selling out, that's not being a real artist. Well, I would challenge you to think, what are you wanting to create for yourself? Because there's no set way to be a professional artist. You can do that like Flox and like I have to a much smaller degree, and still be an artist and make money and be known everywhere and thriving because everyone's got one of your puzzles, or everyone's got one of your, I'm trying to think of one of the many things she's got on her website, one of her custom plates or whatever. She is everywhere, and because of that, she will get more sales because people know her name. Oh, I saw that recently at so-and-so's house. That's wonderful. That is how you really market, is when that kind of exponential increase in your profile is happening because people are buying from you. So don't be afraid to just be one type of artist who is just in the gallery. You don't have to be that artist. And I think, again, that's an important thing to remember, because not every artist can be that artist. You cannot be the person selling your work for $10,000 to $20,000 in all the high, best galleries in New York. There's a tiny 1%, probably less than, of people doing that. But if you're an artist who has, would love to kind of put out some interesting products and diversify what you do, like I say, it doesn't mean you have to be cheap. It doesn't mean it has to be poor quality. You can still create beautiful things, beautiful products, and sell them for hundreds of dollars. You're just creating a slightly different offer, which is the whole point of this conversation, that will appeal to your buyers in different ways. That is the aim of the game, to get those repeat customers coming through. So with regards to how you can consider this, how would I even go about this if I'm thinking about doing something like this? Well, I always go back to what have you come across? And this is what happened to me. I just came across somebody had done a puzzle of their art, and I loved it. And I just thought it was really beautiful and neat. And again, I'm a real note taker. So I was like, oh, it'd be really nice to create a notebook. And I looked at a few different people doing different things, and I got ideas. Like researching and learning from others and seeing what appeals to you is really important, because if you're not excited by it, don't do it. It's really important that we enjoy what we do. This part of the process is creative in itself. Creating new things is creative, even if it's already from something you have already made. It's something to be enjoyed. So research, think about what you could do, brainstorm, have a bit of a summary of the options. And then you want to start to think about, okay, what kind of buyer would this appeal to? If I was buying this, like, why would I be buying it? What kind of price point would it be at? Again, don't get too hung up on price, because again, you do not want to be comparing yourself with the cheapest art and the cheapest stationery store. You don't have to be at that point. You can be the highest price notebook on the market if you want. It's not about that. It's about how you market it and sell the quality and sell the purpose and sell why it's beautiful and why you want to have it. So again, this links directly into how you sell and market things. Is you've got to think about, well, why would somebody buy this? What would they use it for? Who would they gift it to? Would it be for them? Would it be for others? And that's the kind of thing you just start to reflect on, write down notes and go, actually, it's September, this could be a really good idea for Christmas, because this would be a perfect Christmas present if you were in this situation, right? So you start to think like that. And this is when you start to really hone in on, okay, I'm not just creating a product for the sake of it. I'm creating a product with intention and with a plan. What do you need to do to create the product? You want to start going into that and asking, ask for references or get on Google. I want to create this. Where does this for me? That's what I do. I'm constantly researching these things. I'm constantly researching on Google, wanting to create this. I look all over the world for different suppliers. I then look at their reviews. I then get a bit of a feel. I might ask different artist forums for advice if anyone's done something similar. It's about being resourceful. There's lots of resources available for us these days. It's unbelievable what's out there. And then finally, who do you know who could be interested? So some of you might not have a customer base yet. Okay, that's fine. We all start somewhere, and the people who we know best will always be your first buyers. So, okay, who could be interested in this kind of thing? Why would they be interested in that kind of thing? It's good to just start thinking about that, because that will also influence the way we go to sell it once we've decided to make the product and go to sell it. I'm not going to go too much into the detail of the process of making gifts and things like that and products and prints, because that's a whole different topic with lots of pieces. But don't get overwhelmed by that, because we all have to start somewhere. And I think as long as you're just starting with one idea, I think one thing I noticed with a lot of artists I work with is that they kind of have all these different ideas, and they're like, I'm going to make this, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to have this new series. And they're kind of jumping around constantly. And it's like, oh, I put it out there for a month. Nobody wanted it. I'm moving on. If you really want to make sales and really want to get the most from the effort you put in, whether it's creating original series of works or whether it's creating a diverse range of, a new product line, we've got to put loads of intention and time into not only how am I going to make it, who's it going to appeal to, but how am I going to really put a lot of effort into selling this? And that becomes easier over time once you practice. But those skills, all of those pieces are required in order to create a business that will actually thrive ultimately in a long-term scenario. So, like I say, brainstorming, researching, being really intentional, thinking about who's going to buy this, how will I do this, will I, do I understand what it takes to do this? I'm going to commit to this. There's nothing worse than, don't go ahead and buy 100 of something without a plan. You might start simple and go, I'm going to order 10 or 15. Try and get some pre-orders. Sell it before you order it. There's another option. I've got this product landing soon. There's only 20 of them. Who wants one? You might sell 15 of the 20 beforehand if you're really clever about those things. You can safeguard your money as well. I know this is scary for a lot of people. I don't have the money to invest in all these things. That's a bit of a chicken and egg thing at times. Well, we've got to invest something to get something back. But you can be quite clever with the way that you like I say, pre-sell, put it out there early. And so what I have here, and I will make this available to you all as a link after this, is just a little prompt sheet, really, to help you really consider these things once you, if you're going to start thinking about doing something like this. So I've just created a little document here, just with some prompts. What could you offer? What's a transformation appeal to the person who might buy that? Why would they buy it? What kind of price point would I pitch this at? Again, doesn't need to be the cheapest. It's not about creating cheap stuff. Who do I know that could be interested? This is good to think about marketing and how that could, well, if I only know a few people who might like something that's very specific, then you might only order a few. Something like a notebook is a lot more diverse. And what do I need to do to create the product? So just really considering the time, maybe the cost implications, whatever that might be. I will, like I say, make this available to you, and you can play around with those ideas and just, create some summaries of the different types of thoughts running through your brain. But just to finish around, I guess, what these things can turn into, will I do this kind of products and gifts all my life? No, I see my business as a continual evolution. That's fun. I see myself, am I going to make puzzles or notebooks this year? No, I'm not. One of the biggest reasons for that is because because of the things I had done over the last few years, I ended up contacting a couple of big corporates who I knew did gifting to their staff on quite a big scale. And I contacted them and I reached out and proposed helping them create a bespoke gift for their staff at Christmas, which is ultimately going to be a notebook. We're creating 2 special pieces of art for this. And I ended up getting an order of 3,000 notebooks from one client. And so this is the kind of thing I want to just show you what these things can turn into. So that's a corporate example. I mean, another example could be a retailer who might buy at wholesale something that you've created. They might buy thousands of units from you too if you do start to create things that you start to become very comfortable with because you've tried and tested it, you're happy with the quality, and you can start thinking about how you sell on a bigger scale. And so you start getting in contracts like this that bring in a big chunk of money at once. And I mean, ultimately, like I say, as a mother who's trying to run 2 businesses, getting pieces of work like this, it's perfect because I have limited time and I have limited resources to be selling lots of one-off things. I've been able to create this opportunity for my business to have one big sale come in this particular area that has come off the back of trying these different types of gifting. And like I say, it's going to be a more than $50,000 contract for me. So hugely beneficial to my business. And it's come off the back of just having a bit of fun and trying things and enjoying it along the way. So I wanted to give you that insight today. I'm going to make that document available. Like I said, I will put the link in the comments. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And yeah, I'm always around to jump on and answer anything that you'd like to know. I really like sharing my experiences because I don't think there's enough of that around with artists. I think a lot of artists keep this very close to their chest. And for me, every artist is completely unique. Even if we're all creating a notebook, they're all different, and you'll sell them in different ways and you'll appeal to different people. So for me, that's not the competition. So yes, I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you did. Let me know if you've got any questions, and I will see you next week. I'm going to do this every week now. Have a free training that will be streamed to YouTube and my Facebook group, the Art Coaching Hub. And yeah, I just hope that I can keep you going on your way to building a business that you are at the moment dreaming about when you go to bed. All right, take care, and I'll see you soon.